They swore this could never happen to Americans. A parasite so common, it hijacks your stomach and attacks your GI tract, forcing you to crave 2 times the food your body can digest, while silently corroding your body and organs from the inside out. Top public health officials are now finally forced to admit the threat is real. Safety guidelines had been amended all over the country in a desperate attempt to stop the infection from spreading. But by the time the new regulations kick in, it may already be too late. 70% of all Americans are now overweight. My name is Tim Fallon. I'm the Director of Molecular Nutrition and Toxicology at the National Pharmacy Association and have spent the last 18 years trying to figure out a way to kill this parasite that is already estimated to infect more than 250 million Americans by 2035. Maybe the scariest part is that no one is aware of the burden they're carrying inside their bodies, because the symptoms come on so slowly you don't even realize it until it's already too late. Unexplained weight gain, piling up belly fat, cramps, lack of energy, constant tiredness, and lack of sleep. These are just a few of the symptoms this parasite carries with it. If you or someone you love has been dealing with excess body weight, fatigue, bloating, abdominal cramps, muscular weakness, lack of sleep, depression, anxiety, obsessive-compulsive eating disorder, heart palpitations, or even changes in your vision, it's necessary for you to watch this undisclosed report. In 3 minutes from now, I'm going to show you a test you can do at home to see if your body has been infested, plus a do-it-at-home treatment scheme to kill this parasite before it permanently wreaks havoc on your metabolism, leaving you overweight for life. I'm also going to expose the heavy government backstage game that led to this widespread contagion, which started decades ago, and how they're now going out of their way to cover it up. Warning, what I'm about to reveal will infuriate some of the most influential corporations in the U.S., because this parasite comes from a place they control entirely: your beverage and food supply. I will expose some of the scandalous practices of several U.S. food giants like PepsiCo, Nestle, and Mars, which they're desperately trying to hide from the American public. And finally, I'm going to pull out the curtain on the wicked octopus that strangled politicians, heads of state, billionaires, and even once good doctors, even though they're now desperately seeking a cover-up for what they did to an entire nation. After decades of making money on the backs of honest taxpayers, it was about time that someone kicked their hornet's nest. And I'm afraid that one is me. So if you're serious about your health, put your phone on silent and start taking notes, and prepare to see what they don't want you to see. So we begin. The year was 1950. Heart attack was in the main headline of every respectable publication. The death rate increased from 10% in the 1900s to an astonishing 40%. In just the first half of the century, deadly heart attacks had increased by 300%. More innocent people were dying now than in World War II, and no one could figure out why. Then, on September 5th, 1960, the most beloved governor of Louisiana, Earl Long, or Uncle Earl as his people used to call him, died of a heart attack at only 65, hitting the panic button on the entire nation. The crisis was now clear as daylight. It was the first time in the history of the state when the general election, set for November 8, 1960, risked being annulled. It was a very tough time for Louisiana, and by the time McSween took his chair in the governor's office, the fear of heart attacks was haunting everyone. Heart disease, which had been a relative rarity in the 1920s, was now failing middle-aged men at a frightening rate, and Americans were casting around for cause and cure. Nobody knew for sure, but some could feel it. It was the beginning of the biggest health crisis in the history of the United States. Enter government researcher Ansel Keys. Keys was brilliant, charismatic, and combative, and he was sure he had the answer to the heart disease epidemic. His idea, called the fat hypothesis, stated that saturated fats in the diet, from red meat, cheese, butter, and eggs, were the blame for our heart attack problem. His theory was based on his 7-country study, which shows that all Mediterranean nations that had the lowest heart attack rates in the world also had a low-fat diet. Mr. Keys was a very convincing man, so people had no other choice but to believe him. Correct or not, fatty foods were now considered poison, and fat was the #1 culprit. However, some people questioned how the southern European countries were selected, and why France and Germany, which have the lowest heart attack rate while their diets contain mainly fats, were excluded from the study.
This was the problem with the cholesterol study. There's a cholesterol study that set everybody on the course to drop their cholesterol levels, okay, saying it would be good for your heart and all the rest of this. Because a series of countries were studied where they had longevity and low heart disease and low cholesterol intake. That study happened to leave out France.
They were immediately shut down by Key's circle of power, which mainly consisted of influential government officials, strongholds of America's healthcare, and snobbish elites. So now fat was the public enemy #1, and everyone was convinced they should avoid it no matter what. At first, this was a major blow to the food supply chain. Food moguls could watch in horror how their entire system messed up overnight. But eventually, the big food conglomerates found a way to make foods enjoyable and shove it off people's throats even without the dangerous fat. They've got the catch. People would frantically buy everything that had the low-fat label on it and would go home resting assured that they are safe against any severe condition. The rest of the ingredients on the list simply didn't matter anymore. So they did the one thing that would forever change the body and health of all Americans. They removed fat from the food supply, and instead they added sugar. Or better said, refined sugar. Refined sugar contained no fat, so you could add up to 70% of the product and still keep your low-fat badge. Moreover, as a taste carrier, sugar artificially enhances any flavor, so there is no surprise that you can find plenty of it, even in foods that aren't supposed to be sweet at all, like pizza, burgers, or mac and cheese. Almost everybody was happy with Key's hypothesis and the newly adopted food regulations. Everyone except one person. John Yudkin, a Cambridge scientist, demonstrated that sugar is not only toxic, but also that it has an enormous impact on our health. If only a small fraction of what we know about the effects of sugar were to be revealed in relation to any other material used as a food additive, wrote Yudkin, that material would promptly be banned. The book did well, but Yudkin paid a high price for it. Prominent nutritionists in cohorts with the food industry destroyed his reputation, and his career never recovered. Expelled from the lab he founded himself, Yudkin had to watch his entire life's work turn into ashes. He died in 1995, a disappointed, largely forgotten man. However, his efforts were not in vain. His work, including his masterpiece study revealed in his book Pure, White, and Deadly, served as an inspiration for many more scientists to come that dared to go against the ruling system. Enter back to 1957. The most prominent recommendation of both governments was to cut back on saturated fats and cholesterol. This was the first time that the public had been advised to eat less of something rather than enough of everything. Consumers dutifully obeyed. They replaced steak and sausages with pasta and rice, butter with margarine, and vegetable oils, eggs with muesli, and milk with low-fat milk or orange juice. But instead of becoming healthier, people grew fatter and sicker. Look at a graph of post-war obesity rates and it becomes clear that something changed after 1980. In the U.S., the line rises very gradually until, in the early 1980s, it takes off like a fighter jet. Just 12% of Americans were obese in 1950, 15% in 1980, 35% by 2010. At best, we can conclude that the official guidelines did not achieve their objective. At worst, they led to a decades-long health catastrophe. Naturally, then, a search for culprits has ensued. Nobody could have predicted, it is said, how the food manufacturers would respond to the injunction against fat selling us low-fat yogurts bulked up with sugar and cakes infused with liver-corroding trans fats. Scientists are conventionally apolitical figures, but these days, nutrition researchers write editorials and books that resemble liberal activist tracts, fizzing with righteous denunciations of big sugar and fast food. The year now is 2022. The government finally learns from past mistakes, and now it is backtracking, trying to clean up the mess. In his December 2021 speech, New York elected Mayor Eric Adams says, "We could save more lives if people would only realize they are enslaved to sugar and other things that are killing their body." He also promised to clean up city-funded food. No more processed school lunches, sugary drinks for public hospital patients, or junk food for detainees in city jails, he said in an interview last year. And he's not the only one who referred to sugar as an additive drug that should be tightly regulated. Because just last year, the country of Mexico completely banned the sale of sugary drinks and high-calorie snack foods to children after the sugar tax of 1 peso per liter, roughly 5 US cents, was implemented in 2014. But like drugs, these dangerous additives have now become what feels like a permanent plague of our society. But by now, it may already be too late. The question is, how does this affect the way our body works? What is the impact of these synthetic compounds we put in our stomachs every day? Are we destined to have the same fate as the puppy in Magendi's study, who died just 1 month after adding sugar to his diet? Or are we just cursed to live the rest of our lives in sickness, trapped in these distorted bodies that are only a source of pain and shame? Why are more people suffering from obesity than ever in the history of humankind? And why is diabetes predicted to affect 1 out of 3 Americans by the year 2030? The answer might be a hard pill to swallow. Scientists around the world warned us about the most frightening health hazard in America since HIV or hepatitis, and some even call it the silent pandemic. In our lifetimes, this one thing will affect more Americans than all 4 of these combined, making it the most widespread condition in the United States. In 2019, Jack D. Sobel, a molecular biologist at the University of Manchester, estimated a whopping 85% of the population is affected by it at least once in their lifetime. What is it? It's the price the common working class has to pay for the actions of the rich, corrupt food conglomerates CEOs, who are right now, as we speak, desperately spending millions on lawyers hoping to get away with it. But such a catastrophe wouldn't have been possible if they didn't get some help from the killer himself, who operates from the inside of our bodies. Most are not even aware of it, until it's too late. Its name is Candida.
So what is Candida?
Yeast overgrowth. Some people refer to it as Candida overgrowth.
Candida.
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 Candida albicans.
Candida, or yeast overgrowth.
Candida.
Is yeast overgrowth.
And yeast grows on sugar.
Candida can cause an average weight gain every year of 32 pounds.
Often referred to as the American fungus. But where did it come from? Was it carried around during the Great Migration? Or did it come from uncooked meat? And why is it turning 70% of America sick, making more than 70 million red-blooded patriots obese and more than 40 million with high glucose levels and type 2 diabetes? Actually, none of the above. Candida naturally populates our gastrointestinal tract, along with 39 trillion other microbial cells, including bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Some of them help your body, some harmlessly use it as a living environment, but some may seriously wreck your system. So, as long as there is a balance, 80% good bacteria to 20% bad, as most microbiologists say, your body will function unbothered by them. But here's where the culprit lies, because Candida is a type of yeast. And do you know what yeast like to eat? Sugar, table sugar, artificial sweeteners, and preservatives. These things have just been added to our foods in just the last 50 or so years, and now we can see the results with our own eyes, on our own bodies. Remember that school science class where you put yeast in a petri dish, add sugar, and watch it grow? That's what's happening inside your gut right now. Take a look at that pic again. That's how Candida albicans actually looks when it starts to breed. And when it grows faster and faster and faster, leaving the good bacteria in your stomach defeated, weak, and outnumbered. Then, Candida spores progressively take on your small intestine and colon, spreading to your entire system. And that's when your medical file starts to become thicker and thicker. Weight gain, lack of energy, extreme cravings, sleeping disorders, constipation or bloating, skin problems, and yeast infections are just a few of the many conditions triggered by Candida. You may not connect the dots at first, but if you've been experiencing at least 3 of these symptoms lately, it's extremely likely you harbor this parasite inside your body. Doctors estimate that currently, at the time this report is being produced in the first quarter of 2022, 1 in 3 Americans suffer from yeast-related symptoms or conditions which indicate Candida overgrowth. Moreover, in an exclusive interview for the Oprah Winfrey Show, Dr. Oz himself calls it the mother of all parasites. The reason why this parasite is able to do so much damage to your body is that it directly attacks your digestive system, which is your body's source of life. It's also the command center of your immune system. Therefore, when your digestive tract is damaged, so is your body's ability to heal itself. But what's worse about Candida's overgrowth is that, left untreated, it affects your entire body and appearance. Psoriasis, acne, dandruff, toenail fungus, hair loss, decreased libido, depression, and irritability are only a few of the conditions in Dr. Mark Hyman's book, The Blood Sugar Solution. And there is one more thing about Candida. It literally programs your body to crave more of the foods it needs to grow faster and mess you up even more. Sweets, refined carbs, starchy foods, pizza, pasta, baked pastries, or soda. And the most frustrating thing about it is that somehow you don't even enjoy it anymore. Just like a drug. Not satisfying the craving causes you pain, and satisfying it generates only a meh feeling, rather than a skyrocketing enjoyment as you'd expect. Sounds familiar? If so, it's probably because you don't naturally want those things. But Candida managed to hijack your taste buds, brain chemistry, and hormones, and now they are tyrannically demanding your body to want the foods that worsen your condition, making you gain weight. Yeast overgrowth was also linked to many studies showing it could be the #1 cause of obesity. As Dr. Eric Backer writes in his 2021 book, Candida Crusher, a permanent Candida yeast solution developed over 35 years, a parasitic infection is most likely to cause weight fluctuation and hamper your appetite. So many people suffer in silence, not even knowing what is actually wrong, and blaming themselves for failing. There are millions of people out there who can't lose weight and have no idea why. Dr. Eric Backer, MD. But enough with the problem. Let's talk about solutions. Because fortunately, there is a way to get rid of Candida overgrowth. And all you have to do is restore the balance between the yeast that have taken away your body and the good microbes that are now under siege. To get in your best shape, all you need to do is get to the 80-20 balance. 80% good bacteria, 20% bad bacteria. Here, you have 2 options. The first option is to move to the countryside, buy a small farm, and only consume foods from your personal production. And I know it sounds insane to put it that way, but unfortunately, in nowadays society, gardening all day is literally the only way to make sure your foods come from a good source. Not even the bio label, who's now so easily stuck to all kinds of foods, won't mean the soil your cereals grew in is not soaked with pesticides. Only by completely eliminating all processed foods, refined sugars and carbs, artificial sweeteners, and white breads from your diet can you get a chance of regaining control over your weight and body. But let's be realistic. Would you leave your job, social life, and even family just to move to some strange village with little electricity and spend your entire life digging the ground and cleaning animals' dirt? Well, if you're like me, you'll find nothing glorious about it. But living in a big city, eating all natural, is nearly impossible. I mean, who wants to never eat out at a restaurant? Or never attend a birthday party or family dinner just because your diet says to stay at home alone and eat rabbit food? Luckily, there is now a better way. Recent studies show that loading your gut with probiotics will help you lose fat fast without having to go through a drastic diet change. How do I know? Because there are now thousands of studies that prove it. Just like this one, released by King's College in England from their Advanced Nutritional Science Department. In this study, they took 3,600 twins to find out why some of them were overweight. They used twins to rule out genetic factors. So, what did they discover? To their amazement, it had less to do with how much people ate, or what they ate, or even how much they exercised that determined how overweight they were. Instead, it was the presence of probiotics in their gut flora that dictated their Candida overgrowth level and weight. But hold on a second, because this report is not about making you buy another bottle of lactobacillus. If you're struggling with weight gain and digestive problems, I'm sure you've already tried those. And let's face it now, if they'd actually work, all Americans would be skinny by now. The problem with these synthetic probiotics is that they are destroyed by strong stomach acids in your digestive system. Only 5% make it through. That's why they don't have much of an effect. So how do we supply our bodies with probiotics if not take them from the nearest pharmacy? Dr. Will Bulsiewicz, the author of the global bestseller Fiber Fueled, recently stated, "The single greatest predictor of a healthy gut microbiome is the diversity of plants in one's diet." Dr. Will Bulsiewicz, MSCI. In a 2018 study published in the National Library of Medicine, children from daycare centers in Helsinki, Finland, were given milk with and without synthetic probiotics. The study showed clearly that those who drank the synthetic probiotics milk showed no more beta autoimmune cells or lower chances of developing diabetes. Now, this alone should be enough to convince the big pharma's greedy cats to stick their so-called miracle probiotics in their butts, if they'd had any trace of decency left. I hate to be the one who has to tell you this, but someone has to say it. Every single synthetic probiotic pill, powder, or drop you ever swallowed in your life made nothing but to pass through your digestive system like tap water. But once you give your body natural probiotics, you'll see wonders happening to your body. Because, believe it or not, Candida is stopping you from reaching your ideal weight and your best self. Once you flush it away, your gut will immediately start to process food more efficiently. You'll also notice those carb and sugar cravings fade away. You actually find yourself craving real, healthy foods that make you look and feel great. And that's because your digestive tract contains 60% of the cells in your body. So it's no surprise cleaning it up can make you feel like a whole new person. Many Americans who try the Candida cleansing method I'll show you in just a few minutes are taken aback by the results they have in just days. Here's a message I've just found in my inbox last week. I would have given anything for the magic pill that would stop my weight gain, but I didn't have to because I found this website. I'm telling everybody, this is truly a miracle. I can't remember a time since my body felt so energized and my sleep so deep. And all these while my appetite went down like a montagne russe. Once a person that needed to snack every other hour, otherwise I felt miserable. Now I almost forget when it's mealtime. And the best part is, you can see it on my body. My belly fat melted like it had never been there. And my digestion is better than ever. I'm sending this to all my friends. Everyone deserves to know, and not just the ones that suffer from weight gain. Because this pill does so much more for your body. Daniel Larson, Springfield, Illinois. It's no wonder Dr. Oz called Candida the mother of all parasites. And the fastest, easiest, and safest way to flush it away from your system is probiotics. These tiny little creatures, considered by many doctors the most important wellness discovery of our times, not only ensure your gut is working properly, but they also help you extract vitamins and nutrients from the foods you eat. Unfortunately, the probiotics market is filled with cheap, counterfeit products that promise you the moon while selling you low-quality strains that are too weak to show any effect. In our FDA-approved facility, we took a different approach. Our team of microbiologists spent 9 months analyzing 371 different clinical studies and reports on probiotics, put together by respected institutes such as Stanford Medical School, MIT, Candida Laboratories, and the American Society for Microbiology. Our goal was to develop a formula that doesn't contain artificial probiotics, which are extracted from foods, chemically processed, and served to people with no use, but a combination of superfoods, rich in micronutrients and fibers, from which our stomach can extract real probiotics by itself. A formula that contains everything from a clean, sustainable farm diet, but without the struggle of spending 3 hours per day rushing through grocery stores and spending hundreds on so-called bio products. One that would quickly and efficiently destroy the parasitic overgrowth and prevent it from ever coming back. After 21 months of trial and error, we've finally made it. A 100% safe and natural proprietary patent-pending formula that is scientifically proven to increase both the speed and efficiency of your microbiome by over 500% to deliver unparalleled fat-burning results while instantly boosting your health, energy, and well-being at the same time. We called it Tropilean, America's first 100% nature-found solution designed to target Candida overgrowth, a recently discovered, clinically proven root cause of excess body fat. Tropilean is a superfood blend that acts like a natural probiotic, containing 27 unique, powerful micronutrients per capsule, far exceeding even Dr. Perlmutter's strict recommendation. Here's what some of the messages I've got from lucky folks who try Tropilean. I've been struggling with belly fat since I was in college. Little did I know I had a systemic yeast infection for almost all my adult life, which made me constantly gain weight and feel sick. My doctor suggested that I change my diet, which I did, but 6 months later I started getting infections again. I was told an acid reflux medication was affecting my digestion and feeding the yeast even more. I decided to try Tropilean, and after 8 months of use, I can honestly say that my overall health has never been better. I went down 4 gene sizes, and I gave up the acid reflux medication. I wake up every day full of energy and even excited to look in the mirror at my flat belly. Thank you for giving me my life back. Barbara, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I've gained a lot of weight in the last 2 years and a half, and that was definitely affecting all areas of my life. I endured a lot of sleeplessness, digestive issues, and anxiety attacks. My wife and children started to be more distant because I no longer had the energy to catch up with them after work. I constantly felt sick and tired, and I even made some work mistakes that affected some of my projects because of my lack of focus. My wife convinced me to try Tropilean. Since then, my life has changed 360 degrees. I fall asleep faster, sleep longer, and wake up more rested. I feel sharper and more focused, and I'm even excited to go to the office every morning. Moreover, last week I even got a promotion for one big project my company won in 2021 because my boss considered it couldn't have been done without me. I was skeptical at first, but now I recommend Tropilean to everyone. Johnny P., Brooklyn, New York. I went to 4 different doctors, and none of them could figure out why I kept gaining weight and feeling sick and nauseous. My sister-in-law suspected I had Candida and recommended Tropilean to me. I began taking them in November of 2020, and for the first winter and as long as I can remember, I didn't get sick once. It's now August 2021, and I am feeling better than ever. And no green drinks, raw food diets, and cutting carbs. I lost 40 pounds by doing nothing more than sticking to my 2 capsules of Tropilean per day. I am so grateful. I wish everybody knew about this. Paul K., Ventura County, California. These are just a few of the 1,000 people who flood my inbox every day saying out loud that Candida overgrowth was poisoning their health without them even imagining it. And the crazy part is that 15 years ago, most doctors had no idea what Candida was or how severely it was affecting people. Now, they regularly recommend Tropilean, and the results speak for themselves. Here is an email I received 3 days ago from one of my high school classmates who is now a respectable doctor in Wisconsin. My wife was feeling so bad lately, and none of my colleagues could figure out why she kept getting sick. Nausea, vomiting, frequent flu. A few months before, she was a 43-year-old energetic woman, and now she wouldn't even get off the bed. And of course, the scale number increased, and that made her feel more weak and depressed. I was desperate. I used all the connections I had in the medical world, until I stumbled on your presentation and saw your name on it. I was intrigued. I double-checked all the research, and it was all correct, so I convinced her to give it a try. After all, the product is 100% natural, so it can do no harm, I thought. Little did I know back then that I just got my hands on what could possibly be the most powerful natural treatment of our decade. In just days, Miranda got out of bed and slowly started doing her everyday work around the house. After 3 months of use, she lost all the extra weight, her skin and hair were glowing, and she looked more young and beautiful than ever before. Tropilean is truly proof that nature itself is the best doctor. Dr. M.D. Angus Pierce, Thousand Oaks, California. So what makes Tropilean so effective? 3 reasons. 1. Tropilean contains the unique mix of leaf, roots, and algae rich in natural probiotics that holds the power to flush away Candida out of your system. This mixture is based on an incredible trait that some ingredients have when combined, which makes the combination between them have a greater effect than the sum of their separate effects. It's called synergy. Curious about how it works? Taken by itself, bladderwrack is a very nutritious seaweed that is scientifically proven to speed up your metabolism, while its rich fiber and mucilage help you cut cravings and reduce appetite. But a recent Moscow study revealed that when you take MCT oil with the active agent in bladderwrack, the combination not only speeds up your metabolism and cuts your hunger, but is also vital for expelling visceral fat. Instead of letting your body absorb it, it lets it go. Along with this powerful synergetic couple, we also added turmeric root, which has demonstrated antifungal properties for not only Candida albicans, but also the following Candida strains: Cryptococcus, Aspergillus, Trichosporon, Paracoccidioides. 2. The natural nutrients found in Tropilean are the only ones resistant to stomach acids and bile, able to repair the damage that refined sugar has done to your body. A probiotic won't do any good if it's eaten up by the natural enzymes in your stomach. It needs to be alive and active by the time it hits your intestinal tract. That's why we engineered Tropilean to be resistant to stomach acids and bile, allowing it to penetrate your entire digestive system. At first, we added vitamin C, which acts as a protective barrier for your stomach. A National Library of Medicine published article shows that individuals with adequate vitamin C status oxidize 30% more fat during a moderate exercise bout than individuals with low vitamin C status. Thus, vitamin C depleted individuals may be more resistant to fat mass loss. But we didn't stop here, because in order to repair the damage hidden sugar has done to your body, we needed to add one more ingredient: bromelain. Bromelain helps in better protein digestion and utilization, and thus helps you gain lean body mass. It also helps in mobilizing belly fat because of its lipolytic and proteolytic effects. Moreover, it specifically targets your belly area when combined with the other 28 superfoods found in Tropilean. 3. Our formula is tested on real people, with the research being supervised by an independent third party. Tropilean is the only nature-given formula on the market to meet these strict qualifications, and that's why so many doctors and nutrition specialists recommend it to their patients. During our 6 trial sessions, our facility was visited once every 3 months by a government official delegation aiming to make sure we perform the tests in the most sterile and medically safe conditions for both our clients and the people we hired for tests. So what would you pay for a clinically proven solution that helps you shed pounds of fat while liberating your body from parasites? When we put up this formula, we had to permanently keep in mind the costs. Otherwise, the end product could easily become too expensive to produce and offer to the public at a price anyone can afford. Now, as you may imagine, finding 100% pure herbs, roots, and plant extracts from 4 different continents is no cheap process, no matter how you put it. So our only chance was completely cutting out advertising costs. That's why you won't see Tropilean in stores, nor on a billboard from a shiny building. We decided to be as transparent as possible and deliver directly to the consumer by cutting out the middleman. Because it was the only ethical way to keep our tight quality standards while offering you the most efficient product at an affordable price. The last thing I want to do is have the price be a factor in your decision. That's why cleaning your body of Candida won't cost 4 figures, and not even 3. Because right now, for a limited time only, you can get a 30-day supply of Tropilean for a simple one-time fee of just $69. Yes, $69. Well, that's not all. You've already proved your interest in a healthier lifestyle by educating yourself with this report, and that's a big first step that will not remain unrewarded. That's why I'm going to give you a package discount on 6 bottles of Tropilean. You can get them for only $49 per bottle and free shipping for as long as the supply lasts. Once we run out of stock, the discount is gone forever. Just think about it. That's just $1.43 a day to feel your best and get your digestive system up and running at its full potential, allowing you to have the slim body you were meant to have. Look, I'm not here to convince you to not adopt a healthy diet. But have you ever considered the huge cost of buying fresh bio fruits and vegetables every day? The method I just presented to you is not only cheaper, but also does much more for your health than any overpriced smoothie could ever do. Not only your scale numbers will be going down, but also your food costs, as you'll no longer be craving sugary or salty snacks all day long. You'll feel full and satisfied with as little as 3 meals a day without feeling the urge to grab a snack every half an hour. That's because you are now eating for yourself, not to feed the nasty Candida that's been torturing your body. So click the 6-bottle package below, or any other package you want, to secure your order now. Then fill in your shipping and credit card information, and we'll rush Tropilean to your door. Orders placed before 6 p.m. Pacific go out the very same day. Remember, that's a one-time safe and secure payment, so you're not subscribed to anything that will periodically withdraw money from your card. We don't do that here. And while I'm absolutely sure you too will feel the same feeling of relief, assurance, and confidence once you try this scientific breakthrough, I also know that in today's society of big promises, over-the-top hype talk is cheap. That's why I want to put my money where my mouth is by offering you the opportunity to try Tropilean for yourself for the next 2 months. Every bottle of Tropilean comes with a 60-day, no-questions-asked, full money-back guarantee, which is designed to exempt you from any financial risk whatsoever. If after taking Tropilean you don't see big improvements to your health and overall wellness, simply send back the unused portion for a fast and full refund. We feel you should give it at least 1 month to allow Tropilean to work its magic, as some have more yeast to combat than others. So feel free to use the entire month's supply. If you aren't satisfied, well, then we aren't either. So click on the link below now to try Tropilean at the special introductory price, totally risk-free. However, before I go, I feel it's important I tell you about one more thing. It's important to acknowledge that whatever way you choose, you must act now. Because that's not a problem that fixes itself, and your body already sent you some alarm signals. If you are currently suffering from weight gain, fatigue, skin rashes, low libido, lack of energy, or poor sleep, then chances are you are one of the 80% of all Americans who has some level of candida overgrowth. So unless you are willing to drastically change your diet forever, your body has no chance to handle the yeasts without a little help from your side. Just think about what it would be like to suddenly stop brushing your teeth. Of course, in the first 2 to 3 days, nothing strange happens. After 1 week, you may notice some plaque buildup. However, you'll still be fine for a while. But eventually, after some time, your teeth may begin to hurt. You'll develop some cavities, and then you'll just lose your teeth. I know it sounds really bad, but in fact, that's exactly what's happening to your gut right now. Because the same bacteria attacking your teeth goes into your stomach right after, causing damage to your entire digestive system. Except that the consequences are more severe. Because, unlike your teeth, which can eventually be replaced, your digestive system is the core of your body, containing 43% of the cells of your entire body. Left untreated, it may cause you even more weight gain than it already did, along with other uncomfortable symptoms like bloating, heartburn, fatigue, lack of energy, skin problems, and even anxiety and depression. The scariest part is that not only your entire body depends on your gut, but your mind does too. In fact, the majority of serotonin is manufactured in the gut. Yes, you've heard me well. Not your brain, but the good bacteria in your gut decides the levels of brain chemicals serotonin and dopamine that are solely responsible for your happiness. Gut bacteria also directly produce neurotransmitters, which have the power to make your brain sharper and faster, increase your memory, and shield you from cognitive disease. That's why it's critical you get this handled now, before it's too late. The good news is there is an easy way to vanish bad bacteria fast. Simply take 2 capsules of Tropilean in the morning every day, along with your favorite breakfast. Within just a few days, you'll feel exciting changes in your body. You find yourself shedding pound after pound so effortlessly that you forgot about such things as getting on the scale daily, counting calories, or feeling bad after having a croissant. That's because things will come so naturally, you won't feel any pressure or stress. You'll be able to unapologetically relax and take that weight off your shoulders. You no longer feel exhausted after meals, and no longer feel the urge to indulge in sugary or high-carb foods. But even if you decide to have a pizza now and then, it still feels great to know your body is now prepared to handle it. Expect your trips to the bathroom to become regular and consistent. Now that gut bacteria no longer dictate your life, you can say goodbye to spending hours on the toilet. Your skin and hair appear younger and shinier as your body is now able to properly extract micronutrients from the food you eat and nourish all your structures. And then, something incredible happens. It's something I call the revelation. The revelation is the moment when you wake up one day and realize that something is different. Your body is changed, more responsive and energized. You have mastered the art of caring for your own self. You healed. Your serotonin levels are through the roof. For the first time in a while, you are genuinely happy. And you realize that's how it was always meant to be. Your body now works for you, not against you. And that feeling is amazing. It's something you can't put a price on. Without good health, all the money in the world is nothing but fire paper. The most precious gift you can give yourself and your dear ones is a happy and healthy you. So why not give yourself a chance at the healthy and joyful life you deserve? All you have to do is click on the link now and give Tropilean a try. It's 100% risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. I really hope you take action now and join us.